Today on the Bourbon Bytes podcast, Buffalo Trace dials it up to 100 with Sazerac Rye, and they partner with Meridian to turn stillage into protein. Hidden Barn Whiskey hires a new master taster, and I review the new 6-year release from TINCUP American Whiskey. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Bourbon Bytes podcast. I'm your host, Clifton, and this is the week of Thursday, July 24th, 2025. Hope you all are having a wonderful end to your July. I feel like the past couple of months have flown by, at least to me. This summer is just going so quickly, and I always look forward to the summer, especially living here in Southern California. I love going to the beach every other weekend, but man, it sure is flying by this year. Hopefully we have some warm weather later in the year through August and September, because man, I would hate to end summer now. I'm enjoying it so much. But today we are going to talk about some really cool news in the world of bourbon and whiskey, as well as a review of whiskey that I've never had before. And I'm not just talking about this release. I've actually never had a single whiskey from this brand. So very excited to get into that. But first, we want to talk about the latest breaking news from across the whiskey industry. And one that actually came in the day that I'm recording this is from Buffalo Trace. They just announced that they are releasing a Sazerac Rye 100 proof whiskey. So I've been a big fan of Sazerac Rye for a really long time. I think that and Wild Turkey 101 Rye are kind of my go-tos with making rye forward cocktails. Occasionally I'll have Rittenhouse Rye in there as well from Heaven Hill. But yeah, Sazerac and Wild Turkey 101 Rye, I use them for anything from Manhattans to Sazeracs, believe it or not, to just other rye whiskey forward cocktails. So I'm excited to see that they're releasing a specific release of Sazerac Rye that is specifically crafted for cocktails, which is what they say on the press release here for this Sazerac Rye 100 proof. It says it was developed in response to demand from bartenders and whiskey enthusiasts. It's designed to offer enhanced flavor, versatility, and control in cocktail creation while maintaining the smooth, approachable profile that defines Sazerac Rye. So I had to double check my bottle of Sazerac Rye because I was thinking it was 94 proof, but it's actually just 90. Regular Sazerac Rye is 90 proof. So we are jumping up 10 proof points here. And this is starting to remind me of how I felt about the Eagle Rare 12-year. That Buffalo Trace recently announced on a previous episode of the podcast. It's such a subtle difference from their regular release. I'm almost wondering, why don't they just update the proof of the regular one? I don't know. I feel like Sazerac Rye people have always associated with being a cocktail rye. It shares the name with one of the most famous rye cocktails in all of American history. So why are we taking a 90 proof rye and releasing a 100 proof version when it's supposedly the same thing, as far as I can tell? I'm not seeing that there's a different age statement here. I'm assuming it's the same mash bill, but they're releasing it as of July 1st. This is going to be now on the market. And, I'm not complaining. Again, it's just like the Eagle Rare 12-year. I'm not complaining, but I'm like, what is their strategy here? Because, you're releasing two of the same product, slightly higher proof, which is great. This isn't the case of, look, the thing I can immediately want to compare it to is there's Rittenhouse Rye and there's Pikesville. Rittenhouse Rye is a bottled and bond 100 proof rye whiskey from Heaven Hill. They have Pikesville Rye, which I think is a 7-year. I think it's a 114 proof. So you're jumping up 14 proof points. You're also adding an age statement. To me, that makes sense. But to me, this is kind of a weird direction. Same with the Eagle Rare. It's like you're taking a 10-year whiskey and you're making it 12 years old, which is, great. I love seeing older age statements, but I'm also like, shouldn't you just update the existing product? I don't know. I'm not going to judge this because I do love Sazerac Rye, and I think I prefer to put a higher proof rye into my rye cocktails. Usually my go-to is right around the 100 to 110 proof is my sweet spot for a spirit-forward cocktail. So I'm really excited to try the Sazerac 100 proof. It's just, again, brand strategy here. I would love to know what the thought process was behind releasing this as a separate release to join the regular Sazerac lineup. We're not necessarily saying it's a smaller batch. We're not adding an age statement. The price is going to be about $29.99 per 1 liter bottle, which makes me think that they're obviously targeting that bar community. But they do say that this release is joining their Sazerac Barrel Select program as its newest single barrel offering. So it sounds like maybe future picks are going to be at this 100 proof versus the 90 proof, which is exciting to see. But yeah, I do want to try it. I'm excited for it, but it's just to me, it's it's such a weird move. Let me know what you guys think. Have you guys been using Sazerac Rye in cocktails? I just said when I'm craving a Sazerac, my default bottle I grab is my Sazerac Rye. So it's like this 90 proof option. Is it going to kind of slowly, die out? No one's going to be buying it, or are the true Sazerac fans going to stick with that, and only us that are really interested in making it into a cocktail are going to move to the 100 proof? I don't know. I'm curious to see how this plays out, but as with Buffalo Trace, I mean, they got a lot of money to spend, so if this is how they're spending it, I'm here to support it. I just have a lot more questions than answers at this point, but yeah, that's going to be available starting this month. Let me know if you guys find it and how it compares to the regular Sazerac Rye. And speaking of Buffalo Trace, there's actually another story coming from the distillery that actually is a big deal. So they are partnering with Meridian Biotech in a $40 million plant to convert distillery stillage into sustainable animal and fish protein, reducing waste and generating jobs. So they're actually going to take the byproducts from the distillery and make it into multifunctional protein ingredients for aquaculture, pet food, and organic fertilizer. I always think it's great to see companies finding ways to reduce waste and kind of give back to the environment, because we know it takes a lot to make whiskey, whether it's, talking about the wood from the barrels to the stills to the fumes, all that. A lot goes into whiskey making, and it's nice to see a brand willing to give back. And with a $40 million investment, I have a feeling it's going to be a big impact. So they are going to build a state-of-the-art conversion facility in Franklin County, creating up to 35 high-tech, high-paying local jobs and positioning the Commonwealth at the forefront of sustainable food and innovation. Now, that's from breakingbourbon.com is how they describe this venture. And I'm just reading through the story, and it seems like, just like Buffalo Trace, Meridian says they are committed to making a long-term positive economic impact on their community. We believe that our technology will play a pivotal role in enhancing Buffalo Trace's commitment to innovation, as well as setting a new standard for the spirits industry. Big shout out to this. I hope to see more positive news from this collaboration. I hope it does go through. I hope it doesn't feel like just a PR stunt. There's always the chance of that, but if they are truly going to dedicate themselves to this, and I think $40 million is a pretty strong commitment to this, I'm just excited to see it come to fruition. Now, I'm not a local, but just from the vibes I'm reading based on this news story and this press release, it seems like a really good thing. So I'm excited to see what comes of it. I hope they stick by their word. I'd love to see more uses. Reducing waste in any industry is a huge, huge accomplishment. So well done, Buffalo Trace and Meridian. Now we have an update from a distillery that has been getting some attention lately. Hidden Barn Distillery is one that I have not personally tried myself, but I know they are building a name for themselves. They're actually inviting a new person to the distillery to serve as their master taster, and that person is Molly Wellmann. Now, Hidden Barn Whiskey is a relatively new brand, but they are no newbies to the industry. Their master blender is Jackie Zykan, so I think she's no longer serving in that role, but she helped found this distillery. Jackie Zykan has been a name synonymous with great whiskey in the industry over the past decade or so I'm really excited to see something from her distillery. She's really built a name for herself in the industry, and I don't know why I haven't yet picked up a bottle of Hidden Barn whiskey. I've heard mixed things about it, but I'd love to try it for myself. Huge fan of what Jackie does. But now that we see that Molly Wellmann is joining, she's going to be helping out with the batching and the single barrel selections at Hidden Barn Whiskey, and she plans to build on this tasting profile and batching style developed by none other than Jackie Zykan. So Royce Neely, who is the president and master distiller of the Neely family distillery that makes Hidden Barn, says that Jackie got us into a great place with the creation of a style and a profile that myself, Becca Neely, and the team at Neely Family Distillery will continue to replicate and build upon. And with Molly taking on this role, Jackie's actually moving into more of a master blender emeritus role, where she's going to be kind of advising from the background versus being a forefront for the brand. She is still one of the three co-founders, but she is taking a step back to let Molly take a more prominent place as the master taster of Hidden Barn. Now, normally this would worry me quite a bit, but it seems that Molly Wellmann actually has been very familiar with both the Neely family and Jackie Zykan for years. So just a little info about her. She is the former owner of the Old Kentucky Bourbon Bar, Myrtle's Punch House, the Annex, Neon's, Melt, and Japs. She's currently working in consulting She is a regular speaker at the Moonshine University in Louisville. She has been a spirits judge for the American Distilling Institute, the Ascot Awards, and the New Orleans Spirit Competition. She's also an executive bourbon steward through Stave and Thief. So it's not like you're getting someone new to the brand that's also new to whiskey. She seems to know her stuff, and I can't wait to see what she brings to Hidden Barn. So let me know if you guys have tried stuff from Hidden Barn or if you've had experience with Molly. Would absolutely love to have a stream with her and Jackie Zykan. I think that would just be the ultimate dream team of an interview. So if you guys know them, tell them to listen in and reach out. Contact at bourbonbytes.com. All right. Well, I think that does it for the bourbon news for this week's segment. But don't go anywhere. We are about to start our bite-sized review. All right. Well, this week I am reviewing a brand new to me whiskey brand. It's one I've heard a lot about, but I've never had the opportunity to try. So I want to give a shout out to the folks at TINCUP Whiskey. They actually sent me this bottle for review today. And of course, I'm talking about one of their new releases from February of this year. This is the TINCUP 6-year-old original American whiskey. And this one's really fun. I didn't know much about it before I received the bottle, but I'm looking at it and it says it is a marriage of Colorado single malt and straight bourbon whiskey, each aged for a minimum of 6 years in new charred oak barrels and cut with Rocky Mountain water. I'm really excited because this week I'm also going to be reviewing Stranahan's, and I have a good feeling Stranahan's is the American single malt that's blended into this. They're owned by the same, I guess, conglomerate in the world of whiskey. So I have a good feeling that the American single malt in here is Stranahan's, which I'll dive into a bit more on my live stream this Thursday. By the way, if you guys are not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, check it out. I go live every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern for about an hour. We do a lot of flights, reviews, interviews, lots of fun things every Thursday night. It's kind of what I've been doing for a while here on YouTube. Definitely check that out. Give me a subscribe, hit the thumbs up button when you're watching the stream, and let people know you came from the podcast, because I know some of you guys prefer to listen to the podcast, which totally makes sense. But if you're excited for my review of TINCUP 6-year, definitely stick around for the Stranahan stream. I have 4 different expressions from them, and I'm so excited to try it. But for now, we're going to go ahead and do my first taste of TINCUP whiskey. Now, this one's iconic because they had, of course, the literal tin cup on top of the bottle. It's a really nice little shot glass kind of thing. Now, I'm going to be drinking out of a Glencairn because I feel like to give it a fair review, I need to give it in a standard drinking mechanism that I use across my channel. But it is it's a cool thing, and it has little measurement lines in it as well. So I do commend them for that, especially for this being a whiskey that you're supposed to kind of take out and enjoy in the great outdoors. But for now, we're going to drink it in a Glen. Let's go ahead and give it a cork pop. Nice, nice. All right. So like I said, I've not had TINCUP before. I know they have a standard American whiskey. I don't think it's age stated, but this one definitely is. And I know that some of the higher age stated products get raving reviews from the 10-year to the 14-year. Not even just from YouTubers, but I'm just seeing on my Discord community when I announced that I'd be reviewing this today. Someone said they just had the 14-year and they were absolutely amazed by it. So I'm excited to try something from the brand. Like I said, this is a blend. Now, it does say that this was distilled in both Colorado and Indiana, so I have a feeling the bourbon is from MGP, but it's at least 6 years old, so we know it's got some good age on it. I'm so excited to see something for $34.99 that's not just an American whiskey, because that can mean a lot of things, but they're very clear with this being a blend of single malt and bourbon at 6 years old, and it comes in at 42% ABV, so 84 proof. I can't wait to see what this is all about. Let's give it a nose. Oh, already I can tell I'm gonna like this. It's so sweet up front, and it's the classic bourbon notes you know and love. That caramel, that vanilla, a little bit of toffee, a little bit of nuttiness even. Just really delightful on the nose. There is some oak there for sure. You can tell that this is a well-aged whiskey, almost at a bourbon, but there is well-aged bourbon in this whiskey. We know the minimum age is 6 years old, but there's a good chance that there's some older distillate in here as well. And not going to ignore the fact that there's quite a bit of maltiness on the nose as well. It kind of has a little bit of that cereal grain that I get a lot on a malt whiskey, especially like a single malt, American single malt, or even some Highland Scotch single malts. But it has a nice oak backbone that I think is going to support that and work really well when figuring out the palate of this. So let's go ahead and give it a taste. Cheers, y'all, and thank you so much for listening to this episode. Let's dive in. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, it's only 84 proof, so it's not going to like blow your palate or anything, but the flavors here work so well together. This really doesn't feel like to me like two separate whiskeys competing with each other. It feels more like a comprehensive blend. If you wouldn't have told me that there was an American single malt in here, I probably wouldn't have ever guessed that. I would have thought that this is definitely some sort of a blend. Does feel like not quite like a consistent mash bill, but I don't think I would have ever guessed this is anything more than just a bourbon. Such a oak forward palate, still very, very sweet. The finish is what's really shining to me here. It does linger, and it has a very I would say long, but definitely a medium finish. It kind of lingers on the tongue, kind of sits on the back palate, but it doesn't burn because that proof is, like I said, only 84 proof, but that flavor is all encompassing. Oh, wow. I have to have another sip of that. Let's try it again. Oh, yeah. And they say that the bourbon is a high rye bourbon mash bill. There are some of those bourbon spices in there that I would typically associate with a high rye bourbon. But I think the craziest thing is how, I hate to say this word. This is a word that a lot of people are going to look down upon, but I want to say how smooth this whiskey is. And I'm speaking specifically for the mouthfeel, the finish, and just the overall palate experience. It doesn't hit you like with a strong upfront taste. You get that oak, which is great, the oak and the sweetness, but it kind of sticks around that same, flavor profile and goes down really, really easily. I think this is one of the easiest drinking products that I've had that's involved in American single malt than I've ever had. Of course, most of the time when I'm drinking American single malt, it's at cask strength, which isn't meant to be easy drinking. But the point still stands. I mean, this is so drinkable. Someone that feels like they might not be into single malt should at least give this a try, because the way it presents itself in combination with that bourbon is really delightful, and I could see this being a crowd pleaser for sure. Yeah, I'm really excited for this being my first time trying TINCUP. I can't wait to try the other expressions. I mean, this is so unique. I mean, okay, it's hard not to compare it to another like $35-ish American whiskey that came out in recent years that kind of blew up in popularity. If you're a traveler, you'll know what I'm talking about. But this to me blows that release from Buffalo Trace away. I mean, I would drink this any day of the week. I mean, it's so approachable. It's definitely one that you would want to bring and share, because the flavor profiles here are not offensive. They're sweet. They are oaky. They're everything you expect from an American whiskey, but just really well blended. And at the 6-year age statement for $35, I think that's a winner for sure. I mean, this one definitely would make my list of one of my top releases I've tried this year for the price. So I'm excited to hear what you guys think of this if you see it on the shelves. Like I said, it was just announced in February of this year, so it's slowly making its way on the market. But yeah, as a first impression, I'm really, really impressed. So I'll have to revisit it with this 10 tasting cup later, but in a Glencairn. it's quite nice for sure. So thank you again to the folks at TINCUP for sending me this bottle for review. Like I said, I'm going to do a full Stranahan's tasting this week, this Thursday, so make sure to tune in whether you're listening to it live or you're watching the replay. You can check it out at youtube.com/Bourbon Bytes. I'm really excited to get into those. But that about does it for this week's episode. Thank y'all all so much for listening. I feel like I kind of talked really fast through this episode, but there was just so much I was excited to share with you all. So if I should slow it down in the future, let me know, leave a comment. But I don't know, I just was excited to record this week. So hopefully you guys are in a good mood too by listening. If you want to leave a review, visit your favorite podcast platform. Leave me a 5-star or less if you feel I deserve it. But your comments, of course, always help out the channel. And make sure to follow me on all social medias at Bourbon Bytes. You can support the channel for as little as $2 a month at bourbonbytes.com and become a member of the Byte Club. If you know, you know. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your week. This has been Bourbon Bytes, whiskey reviews with a gaming twist. Cheers, and I'll talk to you next episode.